So welcome back to the channel and to another episode of the Championship Roundup. Now we have a lot to go over in today's video. We have all of this weekend's action to go over, and as well as that we have a full fixture list going on in midweek, which I will be predicting in today's video as well, so make sure to stick around for that. All the midweek fixtures will be in the description down below so that you guys can go ahead and make your score predictions. And speaking of your score predictions, I will include them on screen now, so if any of you did successfully manage to get any of them correct, I think that I managed to get 2 of mine correct this weekend, so not too bad going from me. I managed to get the Huddersfield and the Fulham game successfully predicted, so not too bad going. Make sure to also leave in the comments down below what you made of your team's performance this weekend, but without any further ado, let's hop into going over some of these games. So starting things out with the first game on Friday, which saw Fulham beating Wigan by 2-0. As to be expected, Fulham saw a lot of the ball in this one, but they did convert that into all 3 points this time. For the first half, Fulham, they were seeing a lot of the ball, they were getting in some decent areas, the final product just wasn't quite there. Mitrovic had some decent chances in this one. I'm not sure how he didn't get a goal. He had 3 golden opportunities, but just couldn't find the back of the net. But I like the way that Knockout and Tom Kenny were linking up for this one. Johansson in midfield also had a very good game as well. But Fulham really turned it on for the second half. Joe Bryant in the 47th minute took his goal well, but the second goal, scored by Tom Kenny to wrap up this game, absolutely superbly taken. And what I liked about that goal was it was Fulham at their best. You know, they were running at Wigan going forward, breaking fast on the counter-attack, and that's something that we've not really seen all too much from Fulham so far this season. At times they have been a little bit slow, but for this game, for that second goal, they were fast going forward. Kenny then got the ball on the edge of the box and picked out the top corner absolutely effortlessly. No doubt is one of the best midfielders in the league, and they had more than enough quality to see off Wigan in this one, who I think actually ended this game without a shot on target. They didn't really get forward too many times. Wigan tried to make it difficult and did keep it tight for the first half, but as soon as Fulham got there first, you never really got the impression that Wigan were going to get back into it. And I do think that Fulham have quite a few winnable games coming up now, so they'll be looking to target all 3 points in those games, opposed to some of the frustrating draws they've been picking up lately. Wigan will be looking to pick themselves back up in midweek. And the other game on Friday saw Forest beating Stoke by 3-2. For Stoke, it was more of the same from them this season. I mean, they started fairly well in this one, you know, they were creating chances early on. Lee Gregory had a good chance to take the lead. Etebo as well had a free kick, which was well saved by Samba, but eventually it was Lee Gregory who got the ball in the back of the net after 10 minutes. And the thing that's happened with Stoke so far this season is you can see that at times they do have something about them going forward, but defensively they are so fragile at the moment. Jack Butland dropped another clanger for the equaliser that Forest got in this one. The ball was swung in, Butland tried to claim it, and then under pressure from Lewis Grabban completely fumbled it, and then Joe Lolly from then had a tap in to make it 1-1 going into half-time. That sort of fragility at the back continued into the second half, and you know, was continuing to seep into that Stoke City performance. Amiobi with a fantastic header to give Forest the lead. The ball was just hooked up towards the far post, and he just sort of hung in the air. It was a brilliant header into the top corner. Edwards beaten for that one. And then the third goal that Forest scored, Edwards quite poor once again for this one. Amiobi robbing the ball off him. He got the ball across the box. The ball was put back in, and then Grabban got the final touch on that to make it 3-1 to Forest. Stoke did get a goal back from McLean in the 84th minute, but there wasn't enough to be a fight back, and Forest did walk away with all 3 points. Now, touching on Stoke first of all, they're in serious trouble at the moment. They've only got 2 points after 9 matches. They're 6 points adrift of safety so far, and they're yet to win the match. The game on Tuesday against Huddersfield, you feel like it's make or break for them. In terms of Forest, though, a good 3 points on the road. They are now 8 games unbeaten and are sat third in the Championship, just 1 point off the top. It's been a brilliant start to the season for them. And considering some of the sides that they've already played, you know, on paper they did have a very tough start to the season. The next 6 or so games, I think they've got quite a few winnable ones in there. Then we have West Brom putting an end to QPR's impressive run of form with a 2-0 away victory. West Brom still unbeaten in the league, and they are now sat top of the Championship. Now, for the first half, there wasn't really much in this one. West Brom were challenging a little bit more, but neither side had really created too much. In the second half was when West Brom took over. Ferguson with the opening goal. Joe Lumley had a bit of a nightmare with this one. It was a good strike from Ferguson from about 25-30 yards out or so. He hit it well, but Lumley sort of misjudged it, it almost seemed, watching the replay, and that one scrummed under him to make it 1-0 to West Brom. After that, they continued to create chances going forward. I thought they looked very good for the second half. They were looking much more composed going forward. QPR had a man sent off in Johan Barbet for bringing down Hal Robson-Kanu, and then West Brom wrapped up with a Pereira free kick, brilliantly taken under the wall. I'm talking about Pereira, by the way. He's an absolute gem that West Brom have picked up for this season. Watching him play, there was one particular sort of reverse pass in the first half where he took out about 5 QPR players in one simple pass. He's an absolute magician on the ball, and playing in that number 10 position, he absolutely ran the show for West Brom in this game. But another point to pick up on from West Brom was how well they defended for this game. You know, QPR have been scoring a lot of goals throughout this season. They limited Eze. Whenever he was on the ball, there were 2 or 3 West Brom shirts that were closing him down instantly. They really limited QPR for this one, stopped them from playing out from the back and playing their natural game, and it was a brilliant away performance. So West Brom now sat top of the Championship. I've got to say, I've been very impressed so far. I think they've got some brilliant options going forward. And we saw Luton beating Blackburn by 2-1. You feel like this one could be a really big 3 points for Luton, actually. Blackburn have been no mugs at Ewood so far. They've been keeping it fairly tight, but Luton did a real number on Blackburn for this one, who were not looking like their usual selves. I thought that, you know, especially the second half, they were looking quite poor for this one, actually. But Luton did take the lead. Some fantastic work from Izzy Brown to beat his man, got the ball across the box, and then put the ball on the plate for Collins, really, to head in to make it 1-0. Blackburn did get back into the game in the first half. Travis with the equaliser, very well taken. He was probably Blackburn's best player for this one, actually. Going in at half-time, you thought that for the second half, Blackburn would look to come out and really look to take the game to Luton, but Luton really frustrated Blackburn for this one, and creativity just wasn't really there for them opening up that many chances. And Luton took full advantage when their chance did come around. Izzy Brown once again being the provider, this time from a free kick, swinging the ball in, and then Pearson got his head onto it to make it 2-1 to Luton. And then from then on, Blackburn couldn't get back into the game. So quite a poor showing from Blackburn from what we come to expect from them at Ewood so far, but a massive 3 points for Luton on the road. And we had Charlton beating Leeds by 1-0. I feel like a bit of a broken record when talking about Leeds this season, but once again we see Leeds dominate a match but fail to take, anything from this game, and I don't know what to say about it at this point, really. Obviously they were out Pablo Hernandez in this one, that was bound to have an effect on them, but with Helder Costa coming in, you'd think that they'd still have more than enough to win this match, and they certainly had the chances to win this one once again. Countless times would Leeds get the ball on the byline, cut the ball back across the goal, but no one was there to just have that final tap in, and Charlton capitalised when their chance did finally come around. Kiko Casilla made a bit of a meal out of it, but Charlton won't be having any complaints about that, and it was quite a similar performance that they had against Brentford at home when they beat them by 1-0. You know, they didn't have a lot of possession in that game, soaked it up though when they were without the ball, and you've got to give credit to Charlton. They defended very well from this one. You know, they have been a really tough side to break down at the Valley so far, not been conceding a lot of goals there, as well as that picking up all 3 points without Lyle Taylor as well. I think more than anything will be a big psychological boost to show that they're not just that one-man team that maybe a few people have been saying they were. It was a brilliant team effort from Charlton in this one, but once again, Leeds will have to be frustrated, and I don't know what the answer is for them at the moment. I don't know what they could change up, because they're dominating matches, they're just nowhere near clinical enough. Derby versus Birmingham was a bit of a mad game, really. Derby winning it by 3-2. You feel like that will be a massive boost for them, given everything that has gone on at the club over the last few days. But Derby taking the lead after just 2 minutes through Chris Martin. Birmingham had a bit of a nightmare with this one defensively, cheaply gave the ball away in midfield. The ball was put across the box, and then Chris Martin had a shot which sort of just dribbled across the goal line, and Lee Camp was just stood like a statue on his spot. I think he was wrong-footed by it, but it was a bizarre goal to watch nonetheless. But Chris Martin banging form at the moment. He had a hand in setting up the second goal as well. Once again, more poor defending from Birmingham, really. It was Roberts who had slipped that time. Martin latched onto that, then sent Waghorn through on goal, and with a nice finish made it 2-0 to Derby. You're thinking at that point that Derby are then going to go and see out the game, but Birmingham, you know, although it hasn't always clicked for them, you can see with some of the new players that have arrived at the club that they do have the potential to score a lot more goals this season. You know, I do think they've got some decent footballers in that squad this season, and Gardner got them back in it in the 56th minute, and then an unbelievable goal from Ivan Sunjic to level things up. I think that if you watch the goal from behind the goal, he hits it so cleanly, and the ball just rises into the top corner. It was an absolutely brilliant peach of a hit from Sunjic to make it 2-2, and then Birmingham had the fantastic chance to win it. They were given a penalty. Mr. Reliable Lukas Djukovic stepped up to take it, but Roos managed to guess the right way and save it. And then the gutting thing for Birmingham was that they then went on to lose the game with Derby, a really fast attacking move. I think it was 3v2. Jamie Patterson eventually getting the ball, and he finished well past the on-rushing Lee Camp to make it 3-2 to Derby with his first goal for them this season. And like I said, you feel like that is an absolutely massive 3 points for Derby, their first win since the opening day of the season. Just for squad morale in general, I think that 3 points will go a long way, but they were looking better going forward for this one. They were creating a lot more openings than they had been doing it in previous weeks. They were looking much more of a threat. Birmingham, another frustrating week for them, and I'm interested to know what Birmingham think about Pep so far, the manager. I think that there's been a bit of a mix of opinions. Huddersfield against Millwall ended as a 1-1 draw. Fraser Campbell opening his account for Huddersfield for the season after 24 minutes. A well-taken goal by him, and he could be turned out to be maybe a bit of a gem for them this season. I think he's got the application and work rate going forward, and Huddersfield could maybe do with a few more characters like him for the rest of this season. But defensively still seems to be a weakness for them. They gifted Millwall their way back into this game, although Millwall probably did deserve to get back into it. A ball swung in, Grabra went to claim the ball, just completely dropped it and almost threw it into his own net, and then Matt Smith got the final touch in it to make it 1-1. After that, the game was in the balance for the second half. I actually thought that Huddersfield probably improved after the break and looked a little bit better than they had done in the first half. They looked to create a few more openings, but Millwall made it tight for them. Ferguson was sent off for Millwall for a second bookable offence in the 80th minute, and then Diakabi went close with a free kick at the end to win it for Huddersfield. But ending as a 1-1 draw. Like I said, we mentioned it with the Stoke game before. Huddersfield against Stoke in midweek. Going to be an absolutely massive game. Really interested to see who you guys are backing for that one. Hull against Cardiff finished as a 2-2 draw. Both these sides picking up quite a few draws at the moment. You know, Cardiff at the moment are going under a decent unbeaten run, but a lot of draws dotted throughout there. I think they've drawn 4 of their last 5 matches now, so just aren't quite doing enough to bridge that gap up to the top 6 yet. But I thought that Cardiff started out as probably the better of the two sides, actually. With some of the chances they were creating in the first half, they probably should have gone on to open the scoring. But when Grosicki is given a chance from a dead ball situation, when he's got a free kick, I mean, name me a better combination in this league than Grosicki and free kicks. Once again, he produced, giving Hull the lead in the 44th minute with a superbly taken free kick. Cardiff did respond in the second half, though. A nicely worked goal, Glatzel equalising. Nice ball in from Murphy, and Glatzel took his goal well. He's seemingly starting to find the back of the net a bit more for Cardiff now. I think that Hull definitely improved going into that second half, and they looked to score the winner in the 89th minute when then Jared Bowen free kick was headed into the back of the net in the 89th minute. But Cardiff had something to say about that. Sort of a route one way to get back into the game. Smithies lumped the ball up the pitch, and then the ball got a couple of flick-ons. In the end, Ward got on the end of it and managed to get Cardiff back into this one. Hull would have been disappointed to throw away the lead they did have, and they very nearly made it 3-2 in the very last minute as well, but Cardiff did well to block on the line. But in the end, finishing as a 2-2 draw. Not the worst result in the world for either side, but they'd like to start picking up a few more wins here and there, as they've had a lot of draws recently. And what a game we had at the Riverside. Gary Monk, I'm sure, would have enjoyed this one. Sheffield Wednesday beating Borough by 4-1. It was an absolutely electric first half performance from them. The tempo of the game was probably set after 5 minutes when a Barry Bannon corner was headed into the back of the net by Clayton, scoring an own goal. Right after that first goal, Iorfa then doubled Wednesday's lead. Once again, Barry Bannon being the assister, this time from a free kick being swung in. Borough did get back into it with a smashing finish from Paddy McNair, but that was fairly short-lived. Adam Reach brilliantly took his goal, weaving in and out of a couple of Borough defenders, and found the back of the net past Randolph, and then he set up the second for Fletcher in the 34th minute to make it 4-1 to Wednesday. Honestly, it was like a knife through butter with Wednesday going forward in this one. They were absolutely brilliant. Borough so far have been, I mean, they've not always been great, but they've been good at keeping games tight, but that completely went out the window after about 6 minutes of this game. I think it'd be fair to say it's the worst we've seen them all season so far. They were absolutely tragic for this one. Wednesday, though, brilliant first half performance. They were allowed to sort of sit off a little bit for the second half. The job was already done. Borough should have got a couple more goals back. I'm not sure how Assombalonga didn't convert one of the chances that he had in that half, but ending 4-1, a bit of humiliation for Borough in this one, but what a way and what a start it has been for Gary Monk at Wednesday. And then we had North End drawing 3-3 with Bristol City in what was a bit of a bonkers match, really. I think that you could probably look at each goal that was scored in this game and highlight something that was wrong with it and justifiably say why it should have been ruled out. So we'd be here for absolutely ages, but one thing to touch on was the referee from this game. You know, I don't think he was particularly great for either side. I thought that he lost control of it fairly early on in this one, and he made a number of quite bizarre decisions. But Bristol City did get a 2-goal lead in this game. Morton, Vyman both scoring in the first half, both goals coming from corner kicks. Preston, we've been fairly good at defending balls coming into the box this season with the introduction of Patrick Bauer, but in this game we sort of reverted back to last season when we couldn't seem to do that. Declan Rudd, there was a possible foul on him for each goal, but I thought he should have been stronger for each of them, really. North End did get back into the game though through a Paul Gallia penalty, and then in the second half we were awarded another penalty. The second one I think is a Stonewaller. Definite handball from Ashley Williams, and then Daniel Johnson converts that excellently. Then at 2-2, the game really was in the balance. Once again, another Bristol City set play catching us out though. Declan Rudd could have done better with it. The ball went through his legs and Barker made it 3-2 to Bristol City, but Patrick Bauer was on hand to level things up and make it 3-3 with a towering header. Now the real controversial decision was Bristol City did have the ball in the back of the net quite late on. They had the ball in the back of the net twice, but the one from Jeju was the real controversial decision and talking point from this game. Watching it live and from the main camera, it does look very soft. It does look like we've gotten away with one there, but when you watch it from the other angle, when you watch the camera from behind the goal, Jeju does put two hands on Bauer and does push him to the ground, quite needlessly so. So I can see why the foul has been given there, but there's no doubt that Preston, you know, we did sort of ride on our luck a little bit for this one at times. For the game overall though, I thought that Bristol City looked really good for this game. I thought that their midfield three, especially Josh Brownhill, Masengo and Casey Palmer, all work really well off each other. They caused us a lot of problems, and although I thought that Rudd should have done better with the goals he conceded, he did have to make some quite good saves in this one. Swansea against Reading ended it as a 1-1 draw. You can't help but feel like this is a bit of an opportunity missed for Swansea in this one after Reading scored quite a late equaliser in this one. Swansea started fairly well in this one though. AU and Baston linking up for the opening goal after just 3 minutes. Brilliant ball put in, and then Baston in that sort of area is always going to bury his chance. For the first half, Swansea were playing some really decent football, some nice one-touch plays, some nice flicks. They were creating chances, getting in some threatening positions, and probably should have made it more than 1-0 actually. You know, they were dominating on the ball and Reading couldn't really get out of their half for that first half. In the second half though, for whatever reason, Swansea just seemed to take their foot off the gas a little bit, and slowly but surely Reading started to creep back into the game. Swansea didn't quite have that same intensity going forward, that same speed, and in the end they were made to pay for that. Andy Yadon popping up with a last minute equaliser for Reading. He took his goal very well, but given how Swansea started this game, like I said at the beginning, you can't help but feel like it's a bit of an opportunity missed. And then we have Brentford beating Barnsley by 3-1 on Sunday. Barnsley really looking in a bit of trouble at this point in time in what has been quite a slow start to the season from them. They got off to a fast start in this game though. Coley Woodrow gave them the lead after just 59 seconds with a brilliant curling effort from outside the box. But they couldn't build on that early momentum that they picked up from this one, and Brentford did really well to pick Barnsley apart. Barnsley left quite a few gaps in their side defensively for this one, and if you know, Brentford were a side who were always going to take full advantage of that. They like to play with a lot of width, and from wide areas they were causing Barnsley all sorts of problems for this one. In the end, it was Ollie Watkins scoring all 3 goals for the away side, picking up a hat-trick. He took all the goals well and could have even had more. You know, he hit the crossbar, the post in the first half as well. He's been someone who I've not really been all too sure about as him being the main man for Brentford, being their #1 striker for this season, but if he continues to put in performances like that, Brentford should continue to rise up the league. But this does feel like a bit of a big opportunity missed for Barnsley, whose next few fixtures are really looking tough after this one. But there were all the games that did take place this weekend. In terms of my goal of the weekend, we did have some crackers scored. For me personally, I think it's between Tom Kearney and Ivan Sunjic. For me personally, I'm just going to give it to Ivan Sunjic. I just love that goal. I thought he hit it so cleanly against Derby County, and it was a brilliant strike. Result of the week, there's a few contenders for this one as well. We have West Brom ending QPR's winning streak. We had Sheff Wed battering Middlesbrough, and of course Charlton beating Leeds as well. For me personally, I think I'm just going to give it to Sheffield Wednesday. I really didn't see them putting 4 goals past Middlesbrough, but it was a brilliant away performance. So before we do wrap up today's video, we do have some midweek fixtures to go over. All of these will be in the description down below so that you guys can also make your score predictions. So Blackburn going up against Forest. I think I'm just going to edge towards the away side. I've been really impressed by watching Forest play lately, and Blackburn didn't really show much at the weekend. I'm going to say 2-1 Forest. Hull against Sheffield Wednesday. Now Wednesday should be picking up from where they left off against Middlesbrough, but Hull caused a bit of a different threat. I think they've got more going forward than Middlesbrough do, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Grosicki scoring another free kick in this one. I'll go for quite an entertaining 2-2 draw. Leeds against West Brom. Now this is a massive game for Leeds. Obviously West Brom's at top of the Championship at the moment, been playing some fantastic football, scoring a lot of goals lately. Leeds have been dominating their matches but not taking chances. Honestly, I think these two are quite similar in terms of quality in their squads. I'll go for a 1-1 draw. Don't think there'll be a lot to separate those two sides. Middlesbrough against Preston. I mean, Preston should be looking to take full advantage of what is quite a Middlesbrough side who is lacking confidence at the moment. And for that reason, after the weekend, I think I'll just edge North End for a 2-1 away victory. Wigan against Birmingham. Wigan could really do with some points on the board after the weekend, but I quite like Birmingham going forward against Derby. I think they offer a little bit more than Wigan do. I might just edge Birmingham for a 1-0 away victory in that game. Reading against Fulham. I thought that Fulham looked better at the weekend as well. They look much faster on the break going forward, and I think that they will cause Reading some problems in this one. I'll just back the away side for a 2-1. Stoke against Huddersfield, you feel is an absolutely colossal game for both teams' seasons. I'm really interested to see what you guys are predicting for this one. Neither side can defend at the moment, and I don't think there'll be a lot in it. I'll go for a 1-1 draw. Whoever wins that, you feel like could be massive for their season. Barnsley against Derby. Derby will be hoping that the weekend will be their springboard to get going for this season now after putting 3 goals past Birmingham. Honestly, Barnsley at the moment, I'm not seeing enough of them. I'm going to say 2-1 to Derby in that game. Brentford against Bristol City is a tough one to predict. I've really liked the look of Bristol City so far. Away from home, they picked up some fantastic results, obviously. Brentford did put 3 goals past Barnsley, but have been fairly inconsistent so far this season. So for that one, I think I'll just edge the away side for a 2-1 away victory. Cardiff against QPR. QPR will be looking to get points on the board after losing against West Brom and looking to get going a little bit more going forward. West Brom did well to limit QPR in that game. I don't think there'll be much in this this one though. I'll say 1-1. Charlton against Swansea. I'm actually going to back Charlton for another upset in this one. I'll back the home side for a 1-0. They've been a really tough side to play against at the Valley this season. They make themselves so tough to break down, and then when their chance does come around, 9 times out of 10 so far this season, they've taken it. I'm going to back Charlton, you know, for a 1-0. And then finally we got Luton going up against Millwall. Luton being back at home. I do think they've got more goals in that squad than Millwall do at the moment. You're never really sure how Harris is going to set up that side at the moment. He's chopping and changing each week, and for consistency, I think I'm just going to back Luton for a 2-1. But those are my midweek score predictions for what I see happening. I think there's quite a few unpredictable ones in there and a few games which could go either way. So I'm interested to know from you guys, what are you saying for this weekend's midweek fixtures? But apart from that, guys, that will now wrap up for this video. So if you're going to enjoy, make sure you leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. Make sure you subscribe for a bit of regular championship content. Let all your thoughts be known in the comments down below, and leave a like if you did go on to enjoy. But apart from that, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.